Based on your career interests and past performance, a senior director of marketing role has opened up. Would you like to learn more about the role? Based on your career interests and past performance, a senior director of marketing role has opened up. Would you like to learn more about the role?
Hi, everyone. On behalf of Oracle, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our virtual summit on how HR can lead change in the new workplace. My name is Pete Girardi, and I'm one of Oracle's global product marketing managers for HCM, actively involved in helping HR prepare for the future of work. I'd like to first start things off by personally thanking you for being an Oracle customer. We are inspired and humbled by your desire to continually support your employees during this crisis. As you look to aid your workforce, we're here for you every step of the way. We ourselves have seen just how challenging this economic climate is for businesses across the globe and witnessed the effects of the pandemic firsthand. We know that today, the majority of employees are operating remotely, tackling day-to-day tasks from home and adapting to new ways of working. We see people taking on new responsibilities and diversifying their skill sets to support these new asks. And around the world, we are hearing of new concerns arising around health and safety, and expectations from employees that employers will ensure they feel safe and supported. As for organizations, this pandemic has disrupted many traditional business structures and operating models. New workforce dynamics, organizational needs, and employee demands have surfaced as a result and are proving challenging for all types of businesses to address. As the workplace continues to shift, HR is at the forefront, responsible for leading their organizations through change and ensuring they remain resilient. With so much pressure on HR, we recognize just how crucial it is to have the right strategy in place so you can continue to rise to the occasion and deliver what your employees and leadership expect. Today's virtual event is intended to help you accomplish this. We've connected with our customers and Oracle experts to understand the strategies and solutions being leveraged that are conducive to success, and we're here to share those discoveries with you. You'll hear how organizations are acquiring and repurposing talent to support new business roles and priorities. Whether you're looking to maximize the impact of your current workforce or attract new candidates, we'll show you how to gain the visibility, efficiency, and engaging candidate experiences necessary to make it happen. We also realize that new roles and business needs require proper employee learning and training. You'll see exactly how you can uncover skills that need to be developed to address these new positions and requirements, and how to best equip your workforce with the skills needed for a post-pandemic world. Given the vast number of employees working remotely, you'll also see how some organizations are using fast and efficient self-service technologies like HR Help Desk and an always-on digital assistant to address their concerns in a secure and private way, while creating an informed and safe work environment for personnel. Lastly, we'll close by walking you through ways you can connect and come together with other Oracle customers to exchange insights, understand trends, and help each other navigate the constant shifts impacting business and HR. As today's session unfolds, we invite you to share your questions and thoughts with us in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to field these throughout the event. With that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Our first session today, Acquiring the Right Talent Inside and Outside Your Organization, is led by Brett Tierney, Oracle VP of Product Management. Brett will share information on how organizations are finding external and internal hiring success by leveraging next-generation tools designed to deliver candidates with a modern, intuitive, and frictionless experience and drive internal mobility across the organization. Over to you, Brett.
Thanks, Pete. As mentioned, I'm Brett Tierney, and I oversee product management for Oracle Recruiting. And today we'll be talking about acquiring the right talent. And we'll be talking about that in the context both inside and outside your organization. We will be doing a little bit from a forward-looking perspective, so wanted to have a chance to just flash our safe harbor statement. So if you haven't seen it before, please take a read. All right, so onto the agenda. So we're going to be talking about three core areas. The first being the concept of candidates as customers. And we'll be talking about that in the context of the way that consumer expectations have influenced the way that candidates interact with hiring organizations. Second, we'll be looking into the way that organizations should be nurturing relationships with their talent. Again, not just focusing on external employees or external candidates, but also internal employees. And last but not least, we want to ensure that the concept of cultivating internal engagement is also top of mind, because all the things that we're talking about today oftentimes have a connotation from an external perspective, but we want to be sure that internal employees are also focused on, because they are oftentimes the source of incredible talent as well. All right, candidates as customers. So over the last 10 years or so, organizations have been really working with candidates to really understand what it is that they want in their experience as it relates to candidate interactions. And as we've done more and more research and talked with more and more customers, more and more candidates, we've noticed that a lot of commonalities exist between the consumer experience that many customers have when engaging with brands like, it can be Amazon, it could be PayPal, it could be, any number of different consumer brands and marketing brands, and the parallels that has with the expectations they have when they become candidates with those and other organizations. Some of the concepts are pretty self-explanatory, right? They're pretty basic as far as wanting to have personalization, right? They want to have information that's surfaced to them at the right time, at the right place, ready to inform their decision. And then making it very efficient and easy to conduct a transaction, to find the information that they need, whether it's looking for a product or it's looking for a job, and then being able to transact on that thing very easily. Things like PayPal have made it very easy to go through the purchasing decision, and many candidates want that same experience when they're applying to jobs. However, the experience oftentimes is a little bit more nuanced in what the expectations are. The first is some concepts around things like empowerment. So brands like Yelp have made it very easy for consumers to be able to voice what they feel is important, not important, the experience that they have. And the expectation is that organizations are looking and consuming that information and trying to improve. And when you look at things like Glassdoor, that's the exact same experience that candidates want when they're engaging with employment brands. In addition to wanting to have a voice and a level of improvement, they're also wanting authentic communication. They understand that processes won't be perfect every single time that they interact with the brand, but they're really wanting those engagements to be authentic. If a mistake is made, if something doesn't go as expected, it's very important to have an open and honest and transparent conversation. And that doesn't just apply to consumers, that also applies to candidates as well. And then finally, the concept of affirmation has become increasingly important. Organizations have spent a lot of time and energy providing information about their products, what it is that you're buying, not just how it works and what the benefits of a particular product are, but the peripheral aspects, the social, the environmental aspects that are important to the purchasing decision. And we're seeing more and more that candidates are wanting that level of information when they're deciding which organization they want to select and they want to move forward with. So all of these kinds of concepts, again, are things that we see an incredible amount of commonality between what consumers have grown to expect in the broader marketplace and what candidates are increasingly wanting when they engage with brands when they're looking for a job. Now, you may ask, hey, Brett, that sounds great. I can see kind of some of the anecdotal kind of parallels there, but how does this really tie to candidate experience? And so what we found in some of the data out there is that there's a lot of parallel, and really the majority of candidates say very common and consistent things. First and foremost, they say that the products and brands that they engage with as a consumer influences their desire and perceptions to work with that same organization, meaning that when you engage from a consumer perspective, what you like about that organization and the products they sell are really the same things that a candidate perceives as being available and part of the employment process if you were to join the organization. And that perception goes kind of the opposite of as well, that when you have a negative experience as a candidate, it influences your perception and your desire to tell others about that negative experience, even going so far as to say that the majority of candidates that have a negative experience with a company means that they have a dramatically less likelihood to actually use that company for the products or services they provide. So as such, Oracle has taken a lot of these data points and from the ground up has focused a lot on delivering truly engaging candidate experiences. We spent a lot of time and energy and continue to build out functionality related to these types of personalized and targeted experiences, whether it be landing pages, custom content pages, to ensure that the message is getting out, not just about what jobs you might be looking for, but the broader context of the organization, because that's just as important for many candidates when they're deciding which jobs to apply to. The other aspects of our compelling and engaging consumer-grade candidate experiences is focusing also on the ability to have calls to action that aren't just about applying to a job. Things like talent communities and native candidate relationship management is also a key aspect to having some alternate paths that candidates can go down if they're not ready to apply to a job. And then last but not least, making sure that the true call to action, the conversion process of having a candidate apply is frictionless. It is consumer grade, very, very easy and simple to do, and really leverages all of the same constructs that are common in the broader consumer marketplace, including engaging with SMS and technologies like that. Now, the second topic I wanted to talk about was around nurturing relationships. So as we all know, every candidate is not necessarily actively looking for a new opportunity. Oftentimes they're doing investigation. They're kind of poking around. They're seeing if an organization might be something that, it provides a level of interest that they may want to keep an eye on. So it's important to be able to very quickly capture information and be able to nurture and build these relationships over the entirety of the decision journey that a candidate goes through, all the way from the point that they're simply kind of doing some very initial research, all the way to the point that they're ready to accept an offer. So some of the tools that organizations have used is kind of the concept of not only building and communicating their employer brand, but also being sure that the concepts and tools around marketing are focused on the recruitment aspect as well. So taking things like campaigns and different methodologies that consumer marketing organizations leverage and pointing that towards the recruitment space. And again, because many of these candidates are viewing their relationship with organizations in the lens of a consumer, making sure that some of these powerful marketing capabilities are also in the hands of recruiting organizations to be able to kind of achieve the expectations that are out there. Now, when building these relationships, there's kind of three core areas that we think organizations should focus on. The first is around targeting communication, being sure that the right information is available to the right user at the right time. So that's increasingly important because many complex organizations are hiring for all different types of people. Your brand and what is the value of joining an organization is different based on who you're talking with. A mid-year professional versus an executive versus someone just coming out of university may have very different needs, and being able to communicate with them in a way that really resonates with what they're needing is absolutely critical. Furthermore, it's important that these interactions are personalized. Being able to leverage the information that you have about the individual is key. Everything from basic contact information and greeting to the skills, to the experience, to the education they might have, in addition to the things that they might be trying to do. What are their career aspirations? What are they really trying to accomplish when they join an organization, and bringing that into the conversation, whether it's something that's being done at scale through something like campaigns, or a much more individualized interaction that a sourcer or recruiter might be having. And last but not least, it's critical that these interactions are supported by modern technologies. Everything from digital assistants and chatbots, being able to have conversational interactions with candidates, whether it's on a career site, whether it's in social media, whether it's in internal professional tools. All are extremely important, and it's very, very important that not only do you have those conversational capabilities, but you're also leveraging adaptive intelligence and machine learning and a multitude of other capabilities to make sure that those interactions are as modern and seamless and scalable as possible. So as you can expect, this is a kind of a set of themes that Oracle has spent a lot of time thinking about and building functionality around. And this is where our campaigns and candidate relationship management tools being built from the ground up and being purpose-built for recruiting has been very important to us. So things like the candidate talent pools, being able to campaign directly to those individuals, leveraging rich multimedia to create a much more dynamic interaction paradigm are also super important for our current capabilities, and also some things that we're building out into the near future. Again, with the sole intention to be sure that we are hitting individuals with the right level of information that resonates with them no matter where they are in the process of joining an organization. And last but not least, we want to be sure that we're thinking about this in the context not just of external talent. Many of these tools for years and years have been thought about as purely things that need to be focused on engaging and bringing people from outside the organization in. However, many of the more cutting edge and best practice organizations use those same tools and point them inside their organization to cultivate better engagement and to really make sure that they're getting maximum value out of their employees. And it's super, super important to do that. And why is it so important are kind of across the board. So everything from being able to have an amplification effect for the type of hiring that you're doing. Engaged employees are dramatically impactful in making that happen. It's also very important to be able to have engaged employees that are loyal to your organization. They're willing to stay and retain their employment for longer. In addition to being able to have the motivation to want to innovate and save costs for the organization, all provide very tangible value of that level of engagement that truly powerful organizations have with their employees. And so Oracle definitely has been kind of tracking this trend for many years and has lots of capabilities in the product today. The one that we're most excited about right now is the concept of the opportunity marketplace. This is something that Oracle launched not too long ago. We're in the process of deploying it to some control availability customers, and it'll be finding its way to kind of the broader customer base in the near future. And really what this is it's a tool that helps employees be able to explore growth opportunities, look at the different options within the organization to build their skills, gain new experiences through a multitude of different ways, not just about changing jobs. And this allows organizations to kind of leverage different types of engagements to be able to not only gain that level of kind of satisfaction with your employees, but also make sure that you're meeting the short and long-term hiring and resourcing needs within your organization. And of course, being able to do that with a very innovative engine of best practice technologies. And as part of Opportunity Marketplace, one of the most exciting things that we're introducing is the concept of gigs. So this is a much more kind of limited in duration. It's a temporary opportunity that doesn't have all of the overhead and complexity of kind of formal HR transactions like changing a job or transferring across the organizations. And really is focused on having something very lightweight to be able to, allow a project to be kind of spun up, tasks to be conducted in a very short-term kind of fashion that can help engage employees, meet particular project needs, and allow employees to be able to gain important skills and experience that not only can they use in their current role or potentially as they look to find other opportunities within the organization. And last but not least, of course, the concept of Opportunity Marketplace is starting with gigs, but it certainly will grow from there. Everything from the more traditional job transfer capability to doing some more innovative things like volunteering and mentorship opportunities, innovation jams, unstructured time. You can kind of see the multitude of different ways that Opportunity Marketplace will grow to enable a broader career mobility. So this is an area that we're extremely excited about. We think that it will definitely help with that level of engagement and being sure that you can attract not only the right talent from outside the organization, but also be sure that you're best leveraging the talent that you have within your organization. So that's what I have prepared, Pete. So if you want to take it away from there, thanks everybody for your time.
Thanks, Brett. It's always insightful to hear how organizations are engaging applicants, nurturing candidates, and facilitating career mobility. Our next session today, the new Reskilling and Upskilling Imperative, is hosted by Katul Mehta, Oracle Senior Director of Fusion Product Strategy. Katul will discuss the importance of talent management and employee development in today's world and share how we help customers uncover employee skills that need development and deliver effective training and track and ensure completion. Now I'll pass it over to you, Katul.
Thank you, Pete. This session is around the new Reskilling and Upskilling Imperative. My name is Katul Mehta. I'm part of the Oracle Cloud HCM product strategy team responsible for the cloud learning product. Just a quick safe harbor here. we'll be going through a lot of our product features, functionality, and maybe also talk a little bit about futures. So everything we talk about futures is under our safe harbor and subject to change. Okay, so you might have seen this slide earlier. Oracle Cloud HCM is the leading provider of the broadest and the sort of the deepest functionality across all modules across Cloud HCM. So we are the leading sort of across all our competition. So whether it's global HR, workforce management, talent, AI across all of these applications, the depth and breadth of functionality across all modules is you can see right here. Today's focus is gonna be around the talent management application suite that we have. So, I want to just briefly talk about our talent management vision, especially in current times, as we think about COVID and how that has disrupted what organizations are doing, what businesses are doing, how employees are working, and how everybody has to change their style of work, and depending on the type of job role you are in, and how you connect and collaborate with your teammates, where previously you were in the office or meeting your team frequently. Now you need to have the same sort of collaboration virtually, right? So our vision is around connecting your employee and your workforce and provide tools which will make them a lot more productive, right? It's to develop them, especially in these times as the businesses themselves have to change their strategy, change their business models on how they interact with their customers. The employees need to adapt and gain and sort of grow new skills, which will help them essentially align with the business strategy which is being built out. And as we help them develop these skills, we want to personalize these experiences, right? It's not a one size fits all. If you think about people at different levels, at different roles, there are different styles of working, the different styles of learning. We want to personalize the experience that they have and how things are pushed to them to help them, sort of build and develop new skills. So as you can see, this is our talent management suite, right? Very broad across the entire employee lifecycle, starting from sourcing and recruiting, all the way through succession planning. And what sits in the middle here is the employee's talent profile, right? That's the key sort of centerpiece which glues together all these modules. Every module obviously reads from the employee's talent profile to provide a better experience. And then as an employee is, achieving new goals or learning new things, it's writing to the profile as well. And all these modules obviously talk to each other directly as well. So, you probably heard in the previous session about opportunity marketplace, right? And how sort of that's becoming a key tool in our customers, sort of arsenal to help in these times as things are changing really fast, to make it easier for managers to sort of post a new gig, a short-term gig, and for employees to discover opportunities where they can learn new things, they can develop new skills or apply new skills which they've just learned, right? So that's one of the key pieces. Another one of our new solutions, which over the last few years has been learning, right? So the rest of this presentation, I'll focus more on learning, but all of these modules here are, focused on the employee and helping the employee develop and go into his career. So as we talk about learning, I wanted to, sort of look at this from the perspective of a different personas, right? So you got your employee, right, who's looking to obviously do his tasks, perform his work in the best possible way, but also develop himself into, roles that he's aspiring to, right, to develop his career. Managers who obviously are managing the teams, managing their organizations. They're laying out the strategy of where the teams need to go 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now. And they want to make sure that they're building an organization which has the right skills, which align with those short-term and long-term business goals. And HR, in conjunction with leadership, wants to drive the same thing, making sure that across the whole enterprise, they have the right set of skills, and not just relying on recruiting to hire new talent and get new skills in the organization, but making sure from a planning perspective that they have the right initiatives in place so that they're building those skills in-house, right? So we'll look at through the eyes of these different personas and see how you can leverage our Learning Cloud solution for each one of those. So from an employee's perspective, right, in these times, as you think about how suddenly things have to change and you want to push new skills or new learning to employees and have them discover those things, you don't want a disparate set of learning systems where you push the learner to. You want a single place where learners go and search and browse for the learning items, right? And whether these come from your internal LMS, from your internal catalog, or you want to quickly go and procure some new content from an external vendor, whether that's Skillsoft or LinkedIn Learning or Howard Mentor or Pluralsight, any of these external content vendors, you'll find content which is relevant to you, to your business goals, and you'll quickly bring this in and expose to your learners, whereas there was a single place where they're used to going and searching and discovering these items, right? And the cloud learning solution allows you to quickly and easily do that, to get all that content and push it out to your employees. Recommended learning, right? So as employees are looking at their current roles, or employees are looking at, sort of developing themselves into a future role, they are matching themselves against how good a fit they are for that role and where are the gaps, right? They're looking at competency gaps, skills gaps, which they want to sort of fill and develop into to aspire and to develop into that role. And so learning helps you with that. So just in line in the career development screen, as an employee is browsing job profiles, he can see learning recommendations which will help him fill the skill gap. And as they look at sort of formalizing some of that by themselves or by talking to their manager, they can start setting development goals, and within those development goals they can start associating learning, right? So you're not pushing the learner or the employee to the LMS. You're taking learning in the business process in the context of the work they're doing and helping them set learning with the goals they want to achieve, so that whenever they come back to that goal, they can see that learning, they can enroll, they can consume, they can see their status right from there. One of the key investments that we are making across all of HCM and across all of applications is in artificial intelligence, right? That's a key pillar of our strategy across all modules. It'll surface in different use cases in different places. And from a learning perspective, this is a big area of investment over the next 12 to 24 months, right? So you will start seeing AI-based learning recommendations, and they will gradually build into different use cases. So the initial use case would be around learning recommendations based on the user's learning history, right? So based on the things they've done in the past, what are other things that they would find interesting? And then in future, we also start adding on similar recommendations around based on your current role, right? So based on the skills and competencies you have versus the ones required by the current role, what can you learn to help you perform better in your current role? Similarly, help you aspire and qualify better for an opportunity or a job that you're interested in, right? So this is the whole idea. As you bring in external catalogs, from external vendors, and you have skills in your system, and your teams and your employees are looking to build themselves, the recommendations get pushed those content libraries that you're acquiring directly to your learner without them searching for it. And the whole idea is, as you're learning, one of the key things is to make sure that you're refreshing your knowledge, right? So as you start deploying more bite-sized knowledge, a lot of the new content, whether you're building it in-house or acquiring it externally, is bite-sized. It's short, bite-sized content which a learner wants to refresh on when they are applying that skill. But the idea is to push them that knowledge or bite-sized content in the context of their work so that they can refresh their knowledge without taking a big course. So just quickly go through a few, screenshots from the product to see what's coming and what sort of user experience your employees will see. So this is the learner's landing page, right? So when they come in, they can quickly see what's required from them. So this is required by their HR or their legal team or compliance team. There's usually a due date associated by which they need to complete this training. They'll see a couple of items here where they're enrolled in, right? Things that they want to continue. But the rest of the page is really geared towards pushing recommendations, things which might be relevant for them, whether it's coming from the colleagues who think they might be interested in those trainings, or from learning communities that they're a part of, or from AI, right? AI is pushing them these recommendations because it aligns with their history or their job role or their career goals, right? And the idea is the learner can learn more about this training, and if interested, obviously enroll and sign up for it. So this is one of the things that I referred earlier, where I am an employee browsing a specific job role, which needs a bunch of competencies. And I see here, it needs a decision-making competency. For this job role, I'm at level 5. Sorry, I'm at, this role requires level 5 while I'm at level 3. And so now the system's recommending me learning, which will help me fill this gap and better qualify for this specific role. And if this is something of interest to me, I can click on here, say add goal. So create a development goal for myself, fill out some criteria on how I'm going to track, how I'm going to complete, and then also associate the learning that I'm going to take to help me achieve this goal, right? So all of that is happening in the context of the career development module without the employee being pushed to the LMS. So we'll change heads here a bit and start thinking about this from a manager perspective, based on what their goals are, what their motivations are, and how they can achieve those. So one of the key things that we've invested in since day one, when we started building this product about 6 years ago, is to invest in the manager's self-service experience, right? And the ability for a manager to manage learning for his team, whether it is just something as simple as a video or some internal catalog item, or even courses which they see externally, or learning journeys which they can craft together, which could be like a video and a PDF and a course. But the idea is they do not need to rely on the learning department whenever they want to assign some training to the teams. They can do it themselves. They can find if the content is already there, or they can acquire content and they can assign it to the team and track it. That way they are independent and they are empowered to manage the team's learning and develop the skills in terms of where they want the teams to go. They can create learning community for the teams, right? To collaborate. Again, the whole idea is to reduce the dependence that usually the managers have on learning departments, right? So put together learning communities where the teams come together and they can assign learning to their members, but the individual members, team members, can also collaborate with each other. And of course, being able to not just track and report on compliance learning, but any other required learning which they might have assigned, and tracking and reporting on how the skills acquisition is taking place across their entire team, and making sure that the organization is going towards where they want the team to go and they have the right skills in place for the things they want to achieve in future. Now from sort of the HR or the talent specialist perspective, right? They are looking at the enterprise as a whole, as a business as a whole, and thinking more holistically. And the idea is, as they discuss the business goals and strategy with leadership, they're gonna make sure they can easily put learning campaigns in place for specific skills acquisition, which they want to target across the organization, or they want to target specific job roles and learning which they want to build in these specific job roles, right? And the idea is around making it very easy for the learning specialists, because it's all about automation, that they are setting up the business rules and not really investing in a lot of technical day-to-day tasks. being able to set up learning paths and communities, whether you're onboarding new hires, whether you're onboarding people into new projects, or as people are changing job roles, how do you make sure that you have learning paths and learning communities in place where as these people come on board or come on board a new project, they can easily transition, get the right learning, get the right conversations going with different people who are either new hires like them or in job roles like them, to ask the right questions and get answers, and essentially bootstrap their onboarding. This is something we touched on in the beginning of this presentation. They have catalogs deployed today, but given the how fast things are changing, they need to go find new content and quickly deploy it. And how does our solution make it easy for them to get that new content from these vendors deployed in our system and make it discoverable and consumable by all employees in an easy way? So it's very powerful, gives the learners a single place to discover and consume, while allowing the learning specialist to easily manage the different vendors from where they're sourcing their content. This is again around workforce planning. As you are planning your business strategy across different timeframes, whether it's going 1 year out, 3 years out, 5 years out, and thinking about the skills you will need your workforce to have, how do you make sure that you have right strategies in place, not just from hiring perspective, but also from reskilling perspective for your employees, as making sure that you have the right campaigns in place and you're developing these employees for roles which will be transitioned, or for the roles which will need new skills, so that these employees can perform better in the future. And of course, everything is tied to tracking and reporting. You've got dashboards across the whole organizations to make sure the compliance learning is taking place, but also to make sure the skills are being acquired like you want to, and they're trending in the direction that you need to. So full 360-degree view across all learning and all employees' talent profiles to give you that insights. So I'll just quickly talk about customer momentum. This is, we launched this product about 5 years ago. It's built natively on the Cloud HCM platform, so there's no legacy baggage that we carry. There is no integration, so to speak, with the cloud platform because it's native to it, and a lot of advantages which go along with it. So, it's been an exciting journey for us. We are up to like high triple digits in terms of the number of customers that we have across all sorts of industries, and verticals. We are in energy, we are in healthcare, we are in financials, government sector. So across, any industry that you can name, and it's pretty global, right? So we got customers everywhere. It's about 40% North America, 40% Europe, and the rest of the world is about 20%. So a lot of presence, and it's been picking up in APAC and South America as well. So just wanted to give that insight to, my largest customer is about 220,000 employees already live. The largest customer who's going live in a couple of months here is 700,000 users. So very large customers using this and replacing some best in breed LMS solutions out there. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought. So thank you for joining our session today. And I will turn it back over to Pete. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Katul. Reskilling and upskilling are definitely top of mind for HR professionals. It's great to hear how learning customers are approaching this as efficiently as possible. For our next session, supporting your workforce with exceptional HR service delivery, we're joined by Nancy Zoder, VP of HCM Product Strategy. Nancy will dive deep into the challenges related to supporting a blended or entirely remote workforce and share recommendations on how you can support employee questions and needs through a variety of different methods. Over to you, Nancy.
Thank you, Pete. Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Estelle Zoder, and I'm the Vice President of Cloud HCM Product Strategy. Thank you for joining me to discuss how you can support your workforce with exceptional service and experience with Oracle Cloud HCM. Please be advised this presentation may include some forward-looking statements. Now, there's a lot of coverage in the HCM space on service and experience, and many times it's represented as workflow or perhaps with varying degrees of simplicity. However, HR service and experience cannot just be a seamless application experience. It's much, much more. It's about the entire experience you can provide to your workforce. It's about the personalized experience of the relationships you have at and with your organization. So during my time with you today, I'll cover what is relationship management, service, and experience expectations. Then I'll review personalized guidance needs. We'll then look at when automated support is acceptable versus when personal attention is needed, then wrap with the complete experience opportunity. So as we think about the various relationships each worker has at and with the organization, there are many. As an employee, I look to my senior leaders for the organizational goals and objectives. Then I will look to my manager to provide me with personalized objectives. And HR provides the service and guidance on the terms and conditions of my work. But we're missing a huge opportunity if we only address those relationships. There are peers and team members, resources in other parts of the business with similar skills and interests who can support or align with my career objectives and help me grow in my role, but also as a person. Understanding what those relationships can provide and make those connections will give the worker access to the information and opportunities they need to thrive. And when we think about service, it's about giving access to those relationships. And when we think about experience, it's about making the connections to the relationships and then the process connections to ensure access and guidance to information and opportunities. But of course, without trust in the organization, and this is the trust in organizational objectives, as well as their priority in supporting the workforce, that service and experience will not be productive. So ensuring trust is a key component to effective experience and service. A recent McKinsey study suggests that there are 4 key actions to build trust with employees. This includes listening to the workers' needs from career opportunities and enablement to personal struggles. But this also includes the tactical guidance that's necessary to make it feasible to execute. Then you need to ensure that this is not a one and done. This guidance is ongoing to support the changing needs of the worker and in the environment in which they work. And most important, and probably the most critical, is to make it personal. We focus so much on simplifying the experience or providing workflow to connect disparate processes, but we forget the most critical need, which is to ensure the worker recognizes the organization is focused on their needs to make them productive. And providing a personalized experience based on who they are, based on all the various attributes of who they are, to ensure that the guidance that is provided is meaningful to them and simplified based on their needs and not just the needs of the broader organization. And beyond the trust, as an organization and as HR, you also need to be able to quantify that trust and service. There are a variety of ways that we've seen organizations do this. The most common is probably with the use of survey results. But we also see metrics used such as reduction in the number of HR support cases, which would hopefully support the need to reduce administrative staff. When we look at trust and service, what we should measure is the use of the service, self-driven transactions, leveraging knowledge content, or any other automated support. This would confirm that the guidance is not only trusted, but personalized. So what is needed to deliver this trusted, personalized service? Well, in this multi-skilled environment, this personalized service must be accessible. This means providing this access across multiple channels. This can be directly through a web interface, but it must also be accessible via voice call, chat, or even email. And of course, it must be via a trusted, secure channel. This service must then be personalized for who you are, what jobs and tasks you perform, where you live and work, but also where you want to be. This means providing guidance through consistent action, as well as appropriate knowledge content based on those attributes. And we know we do not employ the work, but we employ the worker. So for the worker to be productive and effective in their job, they must have opportunities to grow in their career. They must also have personal growth opportunities. So let's talk a little bit about that personalized experience. In this data-driven world we live in, we should never have to ask who you are or require any attributes of who you are. In addition, that data must be secured. And again, because we're in this data-driven world, the organization must have my data privacy as a top priority. And this should be a consideration throughout all levels of service and support. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, and specifically these tiers of service delivery, or at least the first three. Tier 0 is where you have the content and support that can be automated. Defined rules that can be managed to automate the direct, straightforward support needs. Tier 1 is typically that personalized support. This will require some additional attention, but can still be automated with those additional considerations. Tier 2, however, does typically require specialist support and will typically warrant that personal attention, ideally not automated, to support these service needs. But the one you're probably not as familiar with is what we're calling the personal tier, where organizations have the opportunity to support the worker as a person, not just as a person that completes the work in the organization. So when we think of the employee experience needs of Tier 0, we typically think of the simple transactions requiring minimal data understanding as well as minimal data entry needs. In customer service, but also in HR service, our objective is to focus on automation of services to reduce costs, but also to improve the experience. In this article from ZDNet, they referenced a survey by 1,000 customers using chatbots that indicated that convenience for simple tasks is preferred. Number one reason they would use a chatbot would be to save time. In addition, 54% of the respondents said they would always choose a chatbot over a human customer service rep if it saves them 10 minutes. This also applies to HR for the tasks the employees feel comfortable with and/or have trust in. So workers must be given personalized, automated guidance so they can trust in their process is specific to them based on who they are, where they are in their relationship with the organization. This will ensure that this information and process is relevant to them. They do not need to speak to HR, nor do they want to. Here's one example of this automated personal guidance. So with Oracle Journeys, workers will not waste their time since the process will give them the direction and guidance personalized for them to get the job done, saving their time and effort. With Oracle Journeys, organizations can effectively guide their workers through any type of change. In this example, we have onboarding, but can also include others like transfers, career change, potentially return to work, or any other change that requires guidance for that worker. Step by step, minimized and personalized for them. Going one step further, there are some examples of the service needs that workers commonly have, from understanding of their benefits to ensuring that payroll is calculated accurately, to just general HR inquiries. If workers have access to the information, they can easily manage their needs themselves. Then there's Tier 1, support, which requires more thought to ensure that personalization. This means that additional guidance is required and/or understanding where exceptions can be made. Again, this service expectation is not new, and we continue to evolve the HR service to the consumer service levels that employees expect today. And this definitely applies to the manager experience. Managers typically have many responsibilities and do not want to, nor do they have the time to research how to manage the details of managing their workforce. Their expectation of trusted HR services is that they are guided through the complexities of the worker's terms and conditions so the manager can minimize the need and minimize the risk to complete the transaction. Oracle Experience Design Studio enables the transaction to be personal, and the manager and the employee, based on the manager and the employee they are performing that transaction on. Organizations can configure the rules to ensure that the process, validations, and defaults are personalized for the manager so they can only see and act on what they need to complete the transaction, and of course move on to other pressing issues that they may have to deal with. Now, Tier 2 typically requires the personal attention and service. This means that guidance is still required, but it is to manage that personal engagement and experience. With Oracle Cloud HR Help Desk, action plans can be defined to ensure that personal support that staff is required to give them the guidance that they need to ensure they're delivering that personalized support to their workforce. Even providing direction when a real-time conversation is needed. Ensuring that the employee, manager, or local HR has the guidance they need to quickly get the job done, but also ensuring guidance is provided when personal engagement is needed. This is especially true for those sensitive employee relations cases. When there are grievances or disciplinary issues, not only are there concerns about accuracy, but also about privacy. Personal engagement is a necessity to recognize the sensitivity of these cases. And HR Help Desk provides that level of sensitivity for the management of these cases in order to effectively manage them in the current environment as well as in the extended environments as well. So there was an article published by Forbes.com last year on treating employees like customers. Why it's your best performance strategy. It states that 30 years ago, we saw the changing Japanese business model to put employees first, treat the employees as customers. And what we found in that is that organizations are still learning, but one thing is certain, if an employee feels like they belong and that the organization is putting them first, they're committed. I found this statement made by the author to be so true. Quote, "After all, when I worked for someone who seemed to really care about me, I thrived. I bent over backwards for the business and dreaded the day I had to move on to my next job. But when I worked for a company where I was clearly just a cog in the wheel, who was expected to be thrilled simply to receive a paycheck, I was far less committed. I still did my job, but I wasn't using my creativity except to look for another gig." I'm sure this statement resonates with many individuals. And this is precisely why organizations have invested in engagement tools, but it must go further to have a personal tier of service to ensure your workforce feels connected with a sense of belonging and commitment. This means feeling connected to the organization and the relationships they have and that they've built within the organization. Oracle Connections provides this with a brand new directory experience. Leveraging Oracle Search, users can search people, departments, locations, or other defining attributes. Here, users can review their own profile as well as others, including personal and organizational details, as well as experience, and find out what others think about them. And as we've seen with the support of diversity and inclusion to support belonging, it's about providing visibility to workers and ensuring equal opportunity to view any and all growth opportunities, including task-based work. Visibility promotes that inclusion by allowing all workers to have exposure to all of the opportunities, not restricting access based on who you are, who you know, or where you're located. And with regular learning and learning paths defined, workers are now enabled to support their alignment to the new goals of the organization. But this personal tier is also about growing their personal reputation beyond their job. Workers can be recognized as an expert based on feedback they receive from their peers and build their internal brand, providing them with the exposure in the organization to be recognized as a leader or an expert. And last, but definitely not least, provide personal growth opportunities that align with the organization's social objective. By providing access to volunteering options managed, supported, and encouraged by the organization, not only provides engagement opportunities to your workers, but also skill enhancement opportunities. These opportunities to get involved in volunteering programs also promotes the continued expansion of and building of relationships with the organization and with others within the organization who have similar skills and interests. So focus on these skills is critical to deliver the modern consumer-grade service and experience your workers will in fact expect today as well as tomorrow. And it is important to note to just focus on employee experience as a workflow or a process flow is definitely short-sighted. In order to ensure effective and productive worker service and experience, you must focus attention on the management of the relationships, the service, and the personalized guidance that HR provides and the trust the worker has in the organization. As stated in this quote from the Harvard Business Review, in 2019, companies spent an average of $2,420 per person on efforts to enhance that employee experience. And the output of that was that only 13% of those employees in the study reported being fully satisfied with their experience. Organizations must recognize and invest in all the tiers of service, especially in that personal tier, to differentiate and compete in this ever-evolving environment. Thank you for joining me today for this session on how to provide exceptional HR service to your workforce. Now on to the next session. Back to you, Pete.
Thanks, Nancy. Ensuring HR feels empowered and confident in supporting employee needs is incredibly important during these unprecedented times. Our last speaker today, Heather Hagedorn, Senior Manager of HCM Product Strategy, is here to conclude our summit with a session on leveraging your HCM customer community. As we strive together for resilience, the HCM customer community on Cloud Customer Connect has become a critical place to foster collaboration across our customers and subject matter experts. Take it away, Heather.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to have you all join in. I'm Heather Hagedorn, and I serve as the community lead for Oracle Cloud Customer Connect for Cloud HCM. And I hope you all had the opportunity to hear Chris Leone's presentation, which included showcasing some of the power of the community. I'm sure many of you are aware of the community and hopefully community members. So what I'd like to do in today's presentation is just highlight some of the areas that are underutilized in the community that can bring your organization a lot of value. But before we get started, for those that have not heard of the community, I'd like to tell you just a little bit more about it and the value that it can bring your organization. So the community brings together customers, Oracle partners, and Oracle employees. These are the people that can help you answer any product questions that you might have, such as, how do I configure something in the product? In addition, they can help you benchmark best practices and trends, answering questions like, how do I leverage AI within HCM? Now, the Idea Labs within Cloud Customer Connect allow you to help us innovate our product. It's the simplest and most direct way that you can share your product ideas with Oracle Product Development. And we count on you to help us innovate. Now, as a member, you can learn by attending exclusive webinar events that showcase new product functionality, customer stories, thought leadership, product demos, all these kinds of events and much more. Now, lastly, you do get recognized for your contributions, and this is in the form of badges and certificates, and these display on your profile for others to view. Now, for the rest of the time, I'm going to go live into the community, and we can look at areas that you don't want to miss out on, as well as some recent additions. The key areas of Oracle Cloud Customer Connect include our forums, Idea Labs, and events. The community is open to any cloud customer at no charge, and there's no limit to the number of people that join in from your organization. In addition, it's not just HCM that's represented on the community, but the entire cloud suite. Now, I suspect many of you have participated in our forums. Here you can pose questions, explore discussions, have conversations. This is your place to get fast and helpful answers. In fact, there's about 1,000 new posts that are out on our community every single month. And for every conversation that's posted, there are about 5 responses with 20 different views. Now, our forums are primarily organized by product area. And there's a couple forums I'd love to draw your attention to today. So first and foremost is the Report Sharing Center. Now here you can download report templates that are not included as part of the out-of-the-box offering for free into your own environment. So these are custom reports created by Oracle and other customers that are shared with everyone to take advantage of. And when I talk to other customers, this is probably one of the areas that they say has brought them the most value once they've discovered it. Another forum I'd like to bring to your attention is the HCM Integration Forum. So this is a forum where you can also get great resources to include spreadsheet templates as well as HCM data loader files. So make sure your team members who work with integrations are aware of this forum. In addition, what I'd love to highlight is our new COVID-19 forum. So this is a place where you should go to discuss your challenges, connect with experts, and learn more about Oracle's assistance during this time of disruption. So as you probably heard Chris share, we are offering our workforce health and safety product for no charge during the course of the pandemic. In the COVID-19 forum, you can learn more about this offering as well as our implementation partners that have stepped up to offer free implementation services for this specific offering. So here's the forum where you can help strategize on how HR can lead the change in the new workplace. Now, by subscribing to this forum, which you can do in the top right-hand side, you can be aware of any time someone puts a new post within this forum. And again, that could include Oracle sharing a resource or customers and partners sharing information as well. Another section I like to draw your attention to is our My Stuff area. This is where you can see your posts, ideas, things that you have marked as your favorite. So I'd like to give you an example of a post that's just a real good example of how our users collaborate. So in my area where I can see my favorite posts, I like to show you a post where we've got a customer who's sharing how they have used HR to move beyond an administrative focus. And they're asking for other customers to pipe in on the conversation. And you can see here, we've got a lot of customers, partners, and even Oracle piping in. And you can see this information about the person that's posting by simply hovering over their name. Here I can see their title, their company, their relationship. Are they a customer or a partner or Oracle employee? Now, again, another tip that I think is underutilized is just using the community to create connections and connect with other members. Again, keep in mind there's over 200,000 members on our community today. So let's say I want to connect directly with Wesley. All I have to do is select his name, and in his profile, I can select to send him a private message, and this will come to him via email. And while I'm looking at Wesley's profile, again, I can see the badges that he's earned. So Wesley, if you're on the call today, I'd like to personally thank you for being a very active member. Another benefit of being involved in the community is participating in Oracle Cloud innovation. And how you participate is simply by navigating to our Idea Labs. And here in the Idea Labs, you can create a new idea. You can vote and comment on existing ideas. And here's a tip. If you'd like to stay informed about a particular idea, there's one that's extremely important to you and your organization, then you can subscribe to that particular idea. And it's going to, again, send you notifications when people post, as well as when Oracle does a status update. So Oracle product development, we prioritize and respond to top ranking ideas as indicated by your votes and comments. So make sure to come in and vote for your favorites. We need your input to ensure our applications are the best. Virtual events are also trending. We are on pace to offer over 200 events this year just for Cloud HCM. So as a member, you can attend our exclusive events at no charge. And I suspect many of you might have found out about this event today on the community. So here's where you can see our list of upcoming events on a variety of HCM Cloud topics, and these are hosted by product and industry leaders. Topics can include latest product release information, future investment themes, customer stories, product demos, product office hours. In March this past year, we started a series of HR leadership events that were focused on the disruption caused by COVID-19. And those topics included furlough, return from furlough, strategies as organizations shift into recovery, mass rehiring and onboarding and the tools to assist with that, and return to work considerations. And that's just to name a few. Now, we've also had events where Oracle is discussing our own transformation into the cloud. Here's an example of an event where Oracle is showcasing our new employee hiring experience with Oracle HCM Cloud. In our event list, you can also see past events. This is a great example of sharing our innovations within a particular product. So in this event, John McGoy and Nancy Zoder shared the latest innovations in global human resources. Now we record and post the replay for all our events within 48 business hours. So you can listen anytime that's convenient for you. So here on the event details page is where you can always access the link to the recording. Now, the majority of emails that I receive from customers are usually a notification of an event that they received via email from a colleague. So customers reach out to me asking how they can get subscribed and get notifications of these types of events. Again, you can do that over here on the right. Simply subscribe to our HCM event page and you'll get notifications of all events as well. On Oracle Cloud Customer Connect, you can also access readiness materials in our documentation library. You can access learning provided by Oracle University, as well as My Oracle support. So it's a one-stop shop for all the information that you need. So during the Oracle HCM Summit event, you've heard from Oracle leaders regarding how organizations can pivot to support new business needs and how Oracle HCM can provide an exceptional employee experience. So this is the place where you can continue all those conversations. And I'd like to leave you with a few customer quotes. To summarize, the community allows you to collaborate by leveraging an active and knowledgeable group of individuals. It allows you to contribute to our roadmap by sharing and voting on ideas. And you can learn by attending free webinar events. All of these things help you get the most value out of your HCM solution. So for those of you that are active on the community today, thank you for your participation. I'm hopeful you've learned a few tips that you can take back to your colleagues. And don't forget to make sure that your colleagues are participating on the community as well. For those that are not community members yet, we hope to see you on the community very soon. So thank you for your time, and I'll turn it over to you, Pete.
Thank you, Heather, for showing us all of those various resources. The product forums, Ideas Lab, and COVID-19 forum should all prove tremendously valuable. With that, I want to thank you all for attending today's virtual summit, How HR Can Lead Change in the New Workplace. We hope you found today's session helpful as you lead your organizations through these difficult times. At Oracle, we're committed to helping all of our customers adapt to change, support their employees, and achieve their business goals with solutions that support driving talent mobility, developing a diverse workforce, and delivering service at scale, all within one cloud platform. If you wish to review or share any components from today's event or our many other Oracle Live summits, we'll be sharing links to all of our on-demand recordings later this afternoon. With that, I'd like to thank you again and hope you have a great day.